Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Good evening, or good afternoon, or even maybe good morning, depending on where in the world you are right now. As you join us for part 2 of Super Sunday here on Apex Racing TV of the Weekend Warriors. They've worked with us earlier on for the Formula Fords in part 1. But then where were you? You missed a scintillating race as part of this double header here from Oran Park Raceway in Australia. I'm sure just about to experience even more racing goodness here in the Spec Racer 4s. I'm Tim Cox. We've got Josh Wilkie in the virtual protection trailer and Charles Michelle. Joining us very shortly after the usual championship standings update. Let's take a little look across into Spec 1 first of all, and well, a little bit of a different season this year, with obviously the break. Not the amount of points amassed as what we would normally come to see, but Panero looking good. Looking good at the top. So just waiting for the graphics to appear. Josh, a few gremlins in the system. There we go. There we go. Sergio Drelli leads the way. But see, it feels a bit weird because, no offense to Sergio, it's been the Marco Panero show for the last few seasons, but he's not at the top because he hasn't been here. Which means we've got a new championship leader. Jason Green in second. Great to have him back near the top once again. Evandro Dantas third. Bavini, Gould, Claudio Gardini flying high. Sure you wouldn't expect to be in there. No offense, Claudio. But, you know, it's just shown it's really topsy-turvy this season with Perry, Cabanca, Schwartz, and the Let's Play. We're going to round out the top 10 there. Let's have a look across now into Spec 2, which has always been relatively close. It was last season. However, it's no different this year. It's Arthur Lorio leading by one solitary point over Philip Berry, who is with us tonight, and he'll be hoping for a great result in his home race of the season. Paul Jackson, meaning we've got a Brit in the top 3, always great to see. Stephen Healy fourth, then Brackenbury, Pocock, Santiago, Kramer, Montgomery, and Funnison going to round out the top 10 there. I'll tell you what, it's incredibly close from 6th through to 10th. Into Masters, Young Barney leads that, and he's the only one really who's got a commanding lead at the top of this championship, and that's over Chris Murakami, who's in second place by 32 points. Jeff Pritchard third, that's Kurt Nunes. Antonio Race only 4 points behind Pritchard, who also has 4 points behind him. One Stevie Ray in 6th. Tom Gradwell, never Aussie, be hoping for a good result here today, is in 7th, with Bradshaw, Cantor and Mitchell rounding out your top 10 there. Charles Michel. We've got 3 Brazilians in the top 7.
We do. Yeah, we were talking about the Claudio. Sorry,
Marco
Pirelli,
Panaro.
the Pirelli. No,
Sorry,
Pirelli.
Sergio. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
leading the thing, and so it kind of leads me into the comings and goings of drivers. As Pirelli is not here tonight, so he will not be getting any points for today. But we have some returners. The name that comes to mind is the current pole setter, Castro, who has this is his first race with us this year or this season. Also, Gualtabino, who is down in P8 currently, is just back. Megan Overstreet makes her first appearance in the league this season, and so we got some drivers who are just coming back. And then some drivers who are not here today. And we won't forget about Mr. Almost 10K David Gaspers, who is it looks like he's going to do his normal start from the back and see how far he can climb during the race. So that'll be interesting. If you were with us for the Formula Ford race, we had a couple of I think the term is kerfuffles during that event. So with a 45 car grid today, I expect a little more of the same, especially with these cars, with the ability for them to kind of bang on each other just a little bit.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this one plays out. Rick Wishing currently leads the Spec 2 qualifying. He's 11th overall. That's a strong result for him. Trent Kramer, 13th overall, second in class in Spec 2. He's going to be hoping for a much better result in the Spec Racer 4s than he had earlier on in the Formula 4s after a commanding lead throughout the race in class by a country mile. Had to pit and then pit again, and very strange circumstances to which, been back and look, we still can't quite work out why. And that meant he finished outside the top 3, and it was Montgomery, in fact, who had a real topsy-turvy race, who took away the victory in the Formula 4s earlier on in Spec 2. It was Tim Hendrickson, though, who walked away for the victory in that. Then I think there'll be a lot of people glad that he's not here, throwing those sort of shenanigans about like he did in the Formula Fords earlier on, with just a scintillating, dominating display where just no one could really get close to him. Sabino just moving up into 3rd. He's sharing row 2 at the moment with this guy on screen, Marco Panaro, the Italian. Only good enough for... Well, there you go. Only good enough for 4th, and then just slaps it on pole by a 10.5.
Yeah, it's more the same. Marco does a great job in qualifying. More often than not, he's on the pole. At least if nothing else, on the front row. I can probably count on one hand the number of times he hasn't been where he's been in the race and hasn't set it up on the front. But yeah, I don't normally root for anybody, obviously, with the exception of obviously having a Masters driver winning the overall. But I kind of want Kramer to do well so we can interview him and find out what happened in the first race, because we didn't get a chance to talk to him, and I just feel like that's an unanswered question that I would like to get the answer to.
It will round the circle, won't it?
Yeah, for sure.
There's Antonio Race, looking good enough for 2nd in class in qualifying, 7th overall at the moment. Brad Cathcart doing it for the Aussies, 11th at the moment in terms of the other Aussies in the field. Tom Gradwell, 24th. Philip Berry, 26th. For the very 2nd in the Spec 2 Championship, only by 1 mega point. So this is all earlier on from the Championship standings. Do we feel we're for a slightly different race here, maybe? Quite a few drivers on their out laps, trying to get in those last laps before the end of qualifying. Of course, these cars will take a bit more bump and grind compared to the Formula 4s we saw earlier on. And also, do you like a good slipstream as well? So, do you think we can see maybe more overtakes? Not that we weren't exactly not blessed with any earlier on. There we go. I think he's rendered speechless. It's clearly he's in that much shock and that much excitement is Charles Michel. But let's have a little look. Who else we've got who's maybe a little bit out of position? Gasper's doing his usual thing, not bothering to qualify. Although he is out on track. And he's intentionally having all of his time to delete it, as Charles said earlier on. Excuse me. Typically Lola 10k this week, but for someone of that level, all it takes is him to finish, say, 4th or 5th in a race, and you can lose all of that iRacing depending on what the strength of the field is. So, I don't mean to say that he's had a bad week necessarily whatsoever, but this is somewhere where, in the comfort of a league, he can come, he can let his hair down and do some overtakings and not worry about the iRacing. That's for sure. Shabba Gleaning having a good qualifying. He's 40th overall. Yet to set times. Hank Melee, Jeff Horniak, and Pedro Carvalho, who had a bit of a eventful Formula Ford race earlier on this evening.
Well, Tim, I will tell you, sorry about that, as I'm kind of recovering from a little respiratory illness that I've had pretty much this week, and so I had myself muted and was trying not to expectorate along. So anyway, no, it's you know, I was listening to you talk, and yeah, it's you know, it's going to be a good race. And I think the slipstream, I was doing the esports race at Homestead over the week, and these cars were basically able to pass on that front stretch from 0.8 of a second back before the end of the front stretch. Now, obviously, this one is not quite that long, but you can fully expect to be 3 or 4 tenths back and can be able to make a pass once you get to the end of the front straight. So yeah, I think there's going to be some more passing involved, especially mid-pack. I think you'll see a lot of swapping back and forth. But then it's going to be, it looks like these cars are handling that little kink before Coca-Cola. I guess we could call that turn 1. A lot better than the Formula Ford cars did. We did see quite a few incidents there where the cars were just not able to get wrapped to that corner, and we're pushing wide and we're making contact. So I think that's going to be another little a trouble spot we'll have to look for again today, but it looks like it's better than it was with the other race.
It is. Drivers just trying to cram in their last qualifying. We've had to change for the front row completely. Flavor going to pole. Dantas going onto the front row with him, demoting Panera and Castro. There's always fireworks as Antonio race into the wall. That's his qualifying done and dusted. Flavor, by the sound of things, out of the throttle. He's done with his 2. Also, big shout out to Tom Gradwell, who leapt like a salmon up the standings. He's 17th now. Yesovic as well. He leapt up before everyone else started improving in and around him. Banker finished 2nd before the 4th, so he couldn't have for 24th. Montgomery moves up 4 spots to 11th. Murakami moves up just behind him into 12th. Changing a lot in these closing stages. Drivers, of course, the slipstream playing a part here, and drivers able to just get those laps together right at the depth. Gary Walbot up 2 places. Bob Kern climbs 2 as well. At the back of the field as well. It's all kicking off as I'm trying to see if there's anyone else. Yeah, Caleb Pocock just across the line. He's into 30th now, dropping Russell and Jackson down. And that's just done. That's just done, Charles, I do believe. From what I can see, everyone is across the line, and we are done with qualifying.
Yeah, looks like Panero maybe just left it a little late, decided he was just going to pit. I guess he'll settle for P3. So we'll add this one to the handful of times that I haven't seen him on the front row. So it's a good group up front, so it's going to be a fun race to watch. Pleva, Dantas, Panero, Castro, Monty, Tabino, Green, Race, Perry, and West. And that's a pretty hefty top 10.
It is, and if you look as well, what we'll see from the grid, which will pop up in a second, we just transition across into the race session now. It's basically Europe versus Brazil for the top 3 rows, lining up one behind one another. On the grid, it's going to be interesting. Plaver on pole, Dantas on the front with him, 6 thousandths of a second separating those 2. There's Panero and Castro on row 2. We expect fireworks to kick off between those 2, so it won't be the first or the last time, I'm sure. Yogbani and Jaltabino on row 3. Row 4, Jason Green and Antonio Race. Perry and West running at top 10. Top qualifying spec 2, Chris Montgomery has row 6 with Chris Murakami. Row 7, that is Jesus Rodriguez and Brad Cathcart, no less. Great to see the Aussie so high at his home track. Rick Wishin is next to Overstreet on row 8. Row 9, Kramer and Favini with Gradwell and Gardini running out your top 20 in row 10. 11, Yurcevic and McCain. Row 12, Nelson and Kabanka. On to row 13, and looking for some. Let's start not for Brewster and Jacobson, the All-American row there. While Kurt Nunes has row 14 with local man Phil Berry. I say local. This is tracks in Australia, and he's in Australia as well. Phil Dadwood and Caleb Pogshot share row 15, and that takes you to your top 30. We've got Russell and Paul Jackson, row 16. Row 17, that's you, Simpkins and Gary Walbolt, while Polo Brain is on row 17 with Adam Bradshaw. Row 18, Stephen Healy and Chris Ford. Well, Alex Vadlingham, nice little name to catch us out there with, is on row 20 with Michelle Vaglini, and Alex, a newcomer to this series. Keep an eye out for him, see how he gets on. Row 21, that's Bob Kern and Bryce Evans, while Ian Wilson and David Gaspers share row 22. Row 23, Pedro Carvalho and Jeff Horniak not setting times, and neither did Hank Miller, who's the last car on the grid, in 47th, although he hasn't taken to the grid yet. Neither has Andrea Fabini, interestingly. And they are either going to both start from the pits, or we've seen them at all, but 45 cars on the grid, and Fabini as well. He qualified well, so that's going to shuffle things around a little bit, Charles.
It is, and I'm just kind of checking the logs here. Fabini actually was disconnected. He's trying to get his way back in. So obviously the worst time that you want to get disconnected from the server is right before the race starts. So he's going to be on the back foot. I'm trying to check to see if Melee is still here. Doesn't appear so.
Well, we are green. We are racing, and look at them spread out across the track. 4 wide, 5 wide. Could we even make it 6 there somehow, some way? Is this going to end in tears as they all concertina down into turn 1? There's a car out on the gravel, but I think as they make their way under the bridge and emerge into the shot of the camera, there's someone spinning around. I can see in the background there, maybe actually 2 or 3 cars around. I think one of them might be Phil Berry. There's Tom Gradwell, apologies, after a good qualifying. Well spotted, Charles. Rick Wishen, and I'm trying to spot who else was involved in that too.
I think Gradwell, I think you're right. I think it was Gradwell also.
Wow. There we go. Drama. What a sight that was down to turn 1. Everyone jockeying for position, but Panero already nearly a second clear of Dantas. After jumping 2 places in the opening, we didn't quite catch it because there was so much to look out there. Oh, well, is this going to be the Marco Panero show? Will he work away, or will Dudu Castro push his fellow countryman right up to the rear bumper of the Italian?
Yeah,
Other than this gap of a second, I'll tell you what, they're in one long line, Charles, all the way down to 43rd.
Yeah, it's crazy. We saw this a little bit in the first race. It takes them a little while to get lined up, but once they do, it's just like this one long train. Dantas and Castro are already trying to make up that stagger that Panero obviously had a great jump at the start, was able to get to the lead. As we saw him 3 or 4, it goes 4 wide so often. We didn't even talk about it at the beginning of the race. It's just normal for this series.
I'm sure there was 5s, possibly even a 6 wide in there. What a glorious shot it was, no less. But we're making our way through here, and Panero just holding on to that around about a second gap over the field. Worrying, concerning for the likes of Castro, Plaver, Marni, Tabino, all behind him. Not to mention Dantas, who's feeling the pressure right now with just onto the coattails, the Italian, just making our way through Momo now, through the O'Brien dogleg.
So where did Trenton Kramer come from? Because he's up 10 spots already, and we're on lap 2.
I hadn't even spotted that, Charles. I hadn't even spotted that.
Montgomery's obviously dropped down, was leading that class at the start of the race, and Kramer 10 positions gained, starting lap 3. He's up to P7.
Leading Spec 2 as well by 10 places over Chris Montgomery, who's second in class, but 17th overall at the moment. Montgomery down 6 himself, so he might have come through with Kramer. I think it must have been, well, Gradwell was in amongst them, and so I think that's just maybe where he's had those sort of issues. I'll tell you what, you can tell how stacked it is on track at the moment. Gaspers, we normally expect to see him come through the field. He's still down in 44th position. And actually, no, he has popped into the pit, so yes, definitely treacherous in that midfield and at the back, but that's always the bit of the gamble there. Great starts as well. Pedro Carvalho up 9, and then we've got a Scuttle load up 7. Adam Bradshaw, Bryce Evans. Who else was that? Philip Berry as well. All up 7 spots. There's also some big leads. Kabanka up 9 as well.
Yeah, he's having a good run also. Yeah, just kind of checking. So Wishin, Gaspers, Favini. Favini started from the pits. He is out on the track. He's up to 42nd. But Gaspers and Wishin both have came in and taken their fast repairs, as well as Bradwell, and they're back out on the track.
On board with Bobby West, who we've spoken to him in recent times. He's not 100% sure where he's got the pace from, but he's absolutely loving it right now as the Brit. Up 2 spots tonight so far, up into 8th, and it's part of this group that's, oh really, see, scrapping away. Actually, Castro's off camera has got past Dantas, and I think that was a run down into turn 1. As Josh has just picked out the replay for us, we can see exactly how it's going to have happened. That's off the start. Actually, this will be handy. There we go. You can see the start. Nero got, Charles. I mean, far better reactions compared to Playback. Who was the pole sitter who could control the pace?
Yeah, he got a great jump as we're just watching. You're right. It's 5, 6 wide and behind. Everybody trying to jockey for position. I saw Overstreet look like has contact maybe with Green. And back in the middle of that pack. And,
Charles Plavers around. He's lost a lot of places, and I think he might have taken Dantas with him as well.
He did indeed. Yep, looks like Dantas is towed. Yep, front end's missing. Plava is still on the track.
Josh is scrambling to find us a replay, but I tell you, it's really shuffled up this front end, isn't it? They're all nose to tail in this group behind Panero, but now, I mean, we've got a second gap between Castro and Marnie. So Tabino's just behind, as I think Josh has managed to find something more as well. Tabino up the inside of Marnie there, the Brazilian on a charge now. And Trenton Kramer, you said about him earlier, Charles, he's now 12 spots into 5th, as here's the replay of how it all unfolded.
Yeah, a little on the, looks like Dantas there on the curbs. Yeah. Oh wow.
Okay.
Oh
no.
That was definitely some kind of lag, desync, disconnect, whatever you want to call it. Just unfortunate.
Got it. Oh, that's it's heartbreaking, isn't it, for both drivers involved who are having cracking races, and then, well, you try to do the right thing, but then turns out what is it? I don't know. We'll never know quite. But Plava tried to do the right thing.
You know what? Here's what I'm gonna guess. It looks like Plava was dropped from the server, and that might have just been an iRacing kind of, I guess, lag for thinking that he's still on the track after he'd kind of been disconnected. And it just kind of carried on, and the physics just applied themselves and caused that incident. That's horrible. It's a terrible way to, especially when it's not you that's actually the one lagging out. You just end up getting hit by ghosts, more, for lack of a better word. So that's just a tough break. That's a terrible way to have to end the race.
It is absolutely gutting, but I tell you, it's this group of Tabino and, well, Doubtwards, realistically, it's really compressing. As you're going to see, just a bit of a heads up, drivers triggering that they're actually coming into the pits. They're not. I have to keep a bit longer eye at that one. This is where you swing out into the pit lane entry here, and the longer you spend into it, the software thinks, oh, they're coming into the pits. There's 2 drivers coming out of the pits. That's Carvalho and Jeff Horniak, 38 and 39th respectively for those 2. There is Horniak. He's going to come out right into the middle of the pack here. There's Dantas.
Yeah, we really didn't talk about that in race 1. We didn't have that many people that were, that had to pit early. But it's a little bit of a tricky pit exit, because you are really coming right back out onto the racing line into some of the fastest part of the track.
That you are indeed. And this little group here.
Oh, Nelson. Montgomery. Looks like there's another incident somewhere back behind us.
Yeah, Montgomery's headed to the pits, Charles. I think, yeah, him and Nelson caught up in a bit of an issue there. This trick just starting to come up on a bit of traffic. That's Andrea Fabini, the Swede, who you can just see, well, just out of shots at the moment. You'll see him, there we go, in the 27 machine coming around. Was a teammate of Marco Panero, but incredibly fair is for Andrea. He'll just allow them to come on by. Michele Verglini, bit of a bruised and battered front right there for the Italian, but still up 9 spots in the 31st. And, well, on the cusp of getting onto the back of Stephen Healy and Bryce Evans, who's scrapping away. Meanwhile, Dan Wood is actually into the pits.
I don't know. I think that's a little early. I don't think that's going to be a stop, a normal stop. I think it's going to be, I don't know, it'll be tight for the undercut.
I mean, anything is possible. That we'll keep half an eye out of it, as poor Jeff Horniak still desperate to try and let everyone pass and keep out the way of everyone's race. You've got a feel for the guy. Wood heading out the pits now. That would have seemed like quite a short stop for me, potentially.
That's pretty. I would say that's probably about right for this track. 10.5 second, 11 second stop for fuel. So I mean, maybe he's thinking that the undercut's going to work for him.
If he's managed to this, I mean, you're going to try it. You've got to go really, really early like this, haven't you? It's on board Jesus Rodriguez right now, because this is the only time where there is actually some pockets of space out there. Leave it a lap or two later, and those have gone as we go to the outside with Cabanca on the inside there, down into the kink towards Coca-Cola. Christian Cabanca says, no, you don't have it that easy. Shuts the door firmly in Rodriguez's face, who's, well, he's going to have a little bit of a lunge here. Surely not up the inside. Gets it stopped in time. But this fight's going to carry on for the next couple of corners. This side by side, Rodriguez and Cabanca. There's the contact.
Yeah, you kind of saw that coming. It was really tight racing. Cabanca obviously lost some time, but it's still continuing on. But yeah, it's side by side, you have to be pretty perfect in order to make that work without causing the contact. And we saw that there was just a little bit there. Caused Cabanca to have to catch the car before he could continue on. So he'll see if he can make that time back up to Rodriguez.
Meanwhile, back up front, your leader in Masters with the leader respect to right behind him. It's Marnie and Kramer with Race, West and Murakami all involved in this battle. And Antonio Race looking very racy at the moment, having a bit of a look at the back of Bobby West there. He wants to get ahead of these guys because he sees Marnie as all the 444 of Kramer out wide, and that's not going to help him in terms of this battle. Of course, points are distributed for overall position. And, well, he still holds in class as he slots him very, very neatly there. That was almost Shane Van Gisbergen-esque as he did in Supercars. Oh, is that a spinner? Yes, it is.
Rodriguez, and he's dropped way back in the work.
And that is Kurt Nunes with no front end. Didn't give him a clatter? But he's lost it by himself there. He's looped around.
Yeah, I think that carrying too much speed through the little kink and got the rears overheated and just struggled to get the car stopped and turned. And eventually just looped it, and but no contact with anybody, so he can continue on.
Nunes must have lost his bonnet in a prior incident. Meanwhile, here's our top Aussie in the field. It's Bill Berry with Jim Brewster right behind him. That's how it's getting a bit tight. It's getting a bit feisty right in the midfield right now. And that's Gary Walbot they've got, I think, just in between them. Cathcart and Nunes head to pit road. Getting some early stops happening, but I think she's trying to get himself into fresh air. As we saw earlier on, you can go a lot quicker just by being in that fresh air. What we saw from Hendrickson.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we saw it in the first race. Just getting out and getting by yourself and able to just run your laps, your line, without having to worry about somebody behind trying to get through is very helpful. Gives you a little bit of chance to not necessarily relax, but focus on your driving, as opposed to maybe trying to make a move or defend.
Lord race. That's West just ahead of us for Hebrew. The Oran dog leg. Just in the extra rotation there, just on corner entry from race. He seems like he's really pushing like that. He is desperate to get up onto the back of Jorg Marnie and to take this place away from him. They might have it a bit easier for him. Not how he's expecting, because here comes Bobby West up the inside and takes away 4th place from Jorg Marnie. And now Antonio Race's wishes all come true.
Yeah, I think we're going to see that move a lot. That little move to the inside in the keep. You just can't carry as much as you like to think that you can. The track won't support that outside line through the keep. You just have to lift. And essentially, once somebody gets inside of you, you just have to concede the spot.
You do indeed. You do indeed. Well, we are nearly a quarter of an hour into this race. Sit rep. Panera leads by 0.6 of a second over Castro, so that gap has closed down. It's around about 1.2 seconds, so Castro just made some good pace there. You see just how close they are, and Castro now in slipstream range. You see both starting from the second row of the grid. Tabino, he is comfortable 3rd place, although some 4.5 seconds roughly down from this group. Bobby West, of course, the cork in the bottle for that group that we've seen with Marnie, Race, Kramer, who's the leader in Spec 2. Of course, Marnie leading the in Masters at the moment. Do you have your top 3 in that group in Masters? Marnie, Race, and Murakami. Spec 2, Phil Berry, 2nd. He'll be happy with that one at his home track. He's at 14 places as well. While Paul Jackson is 3rd in Spec 2, he's up 15. Highest climber, well, that is Adam Bradshaw and Bryce Evans and David Gaspers, all up 18 spots individually.
That's pretty good. If you can move up 18, obviously we know what kind of pace Gaspers can make this car do. Bryce Evans is having a good race. He's managed to avoid a lot of the incidents. Bradshaw as well. A lot of those mid-pack incidents they've been able to take advantage of, and that's that's part of it when you have a big pack, like a big group like this. Pretty tight track. Just collision avoidance is as big of a difference in having a good race or a bad one as anything else.
There is that group. Actually, I don't know if it's me, but I'm sure they are catching Tabino. Yes, they are. Now, Tabino did come off track ever so briefly last time around. That's shown. He did a 1:14.2, whereas this group were doing 1:13.6s. So roughly about 6 to 5 tenths faster than the Brazilian, who's desperate to make it 2 Brazilians on the overall podium here today. I mean, it's just getting lost yards. So Vandro Dantas out of that mix as well, because we could have an all-Brazilian podium potentially here today. And I think that would be the first time in Weekend Warriors history that we would have had that.
That would have been very cool. But I think, obviously Marco Pinero is going to have a bigger say in that than what we would want. And obviously with the lead, and Castro's done a good job to chop that gap down. So obviously he's got some good pace in the car, 2 tenths faster last lap. So he's definitely going to give Pinero a run for his money today. And we've seen Castro with really good results and also really bad luck during the course of these races as he's come out and raced it. So I think he's in a good spot now to just have a good battle with Pinero at the front of this grid.
Yeah, it's down to 4 tenths of a second. Tabino back on pace, and fastest driver on the track last time around, Charles. A tenth quicker than our leaders, no less, and that's a tenth quicker than anybody out on the circuit right now, and he's doing it all by himself with no slipstream. There's definitely pace in that 50 machine, just on board the 914 of Antonio Race at the moment. You see Marnie, and this group has settled down. Certainly Race, he was looking, very, very racy earlier on, and ducking, dodging, diving. But now, she seems to have settled down into a groove. Now he's got Marnie directly in front of him. I don't know whether that's coincidental or He's elected, do you know what? I think I need to play a bit more of a long game, just changing up his strategy at that point in the race.
It could be just as now that they're kind of by themselves and there's no no jostling, and you know we're all kind of still tightly packed. I think it's just now pace, and yeah, it's probably just a good chance to just settle down. Tabino obviously he's got good pace in the car. Maybe just feels like a little inconsistency. Maybe just not enough laps to be, you know, to be to be up there with the top two. So yes, definitely but I mean, he's running obviously leader's pace, either leader's pace or that group's pace. So he's still where he should be, and where he needs to be to get a good result out of this.
That is Perry. Oh, McCain off and rally crossing his way through the gravel trap and then running to Coca-Cola. But that was Phil Berry passing Kabanka, get himself up into P13. Making progress is the Aussie, up 15 places now. Although it's a big 10-second gap between himself and Jason Perry, who's the next car on the road, in 12th place. So there goes Caleb Pocock making progress on Jackson, who's about Jackson losing 2 places, Bradshaw, and then Pocock. Misses many corners.
Yeah, and we get to talk again about the off-track physics modeling that iRacing has updated. So you know that probably helped. McCain out more than anything else. Once he got in the gravel, it actually slowed him down, so he didn't slap the wall. Could able to recover the car and get back on track.
Still nose to tail this group. West, Marnie, Race, Kramer, Murakami, Jason Green, who's actually he's tagged onto the back end of this. You can just see Overstreet to the background there. She's got Claudio Gardini with her, although they're setting similar time, if not slightly slower than this group ahead of them. So a bit of work cut out if they want to come and join the party as well, because they've now got Jason Perry on their tails too, to boot.
Yeah,
but they were.
I think Green, yeah, I was going to say, I think Green's right where he wants to be. He's at the tail end of a pack that he can draft off of. But once again, I don't know that the fuel strat's going to play out. I just don't know if there's enough draft areas on here or lift and coast potential areas that he can save enough fuel to do his normal strat, which is kind of short pit and run late. He did not run late, obviously, in the first race. We talked about that during the event. So
Charles, I'm going to cut across you because I'm just seeing in full view of the shot. That's Antonio Race ahead of Marnie now, down into the kink. And that has got himself into the lead of Masters. A lovely little textbook move there.
Yeah.
In front of his old foe.
Yeah, and that probably won't be the last time. Obviously, Monty will try and get that position back. Now, whether he does it prior to the pit stop or after, he'll see if he can get a good run and make that same move back on the race.
Joyce, it's so good to see this because I remember Antonio Race, obviously before Marnie came of age and moved into Masters, always really strong in qualifying. Used to love watching him qualifying, but just never had the luck and just never worked out for him in the racing conditions. Used to fall through the order or caught up in an incident and have to retire. And now it's all, across the course of the last year, certainly, it's all just clicked into place for the Portuguese driver. It's fascinating to see, and now he's got Marnie in with a fight with him after he moved up into Masters from Spec 1. I get to enjoy these great Masters fights at the front.
Yeah, these are just obviously two really quick and solid drivers, and that's every time they're on the track, you kind of expect them to be at the top of the Masters class. Obviously, I was not around to see them prior to that, but I was spin in front.
Ooh, that I think could be Ian Wilson potentially. He's just headed off. And yes, he's falling through the order behind for Beanie, so I'm going to guess, yeah, there he is. There he is. Shame for the Canadian. Well spotted, Charles.
Yeah, that was, let's see, we got the replay here. Thank you, Josh.
That's Yaltabino heading through. Oh, and he made contact with him.
Wow. just not really sure about that. You know, Wilson's had a good run. He's still up 12 spots even after dropping, but I think looks like he's a lap down for the field. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah. So that was just lap traffic, and maybe he wasn't expecting him to check up that much, and made the contact with the apex.
And what that now means, Charles, is that Tabino's brought back into that fight for what is now third place rather than fourth. It's down the midfield there, seeing how that's all progressing. Well, there you go. You can visually see how that's closed up. They got it just under a second, but now it's down to 6/10.
Yeah, it's probably not the place you want to be with 5 or 6 really quick drivers now in draft range behind you. You know, I'm sure he was quite happy, even if he was a little bored running by himself, to just be out there in front with a solid lead over this group. And now they're going to see if they can tighten that gap up even further.
It makes it very, very fascinating, doesn't it? It completely flips this on its head, because this group, you know, inter-class battles, really. You know, you've got Bobby West, who's the only Spec 1 guy in it. You've got the battle for the lead, Masters between Marnie and Race, and then you've got Trent Kramer, who's just hanging out there, loving life in the lead of Spec 2, just picking up the scraps. Doesn't really matter too much about it. So Race having a bit of a look at West there, but, well, I think that's because he can sense, he can see that Yatabino is now in touching distance of them, and there's Overstreet and co. I think they're making a little bit of time up on that group ahead as well, so that's promising.
Yeah, it definitely looks like they're making the effort to try and close that gap. We'll see if there's anybody that's willing to do a short stop here to try and gain some time during the pit stops, and we should be within about 6 minutes of just everybody piling into the pit at one time.
I just suddenly thought, no, it can't be. Don't be so silly, Charles. But no, you're spot on. 25 minutes complete. Where has the time gone? 21 laps already undertaken here from Oran Park. And that's Jeff Horniak into the pit lane from 36. Not the race that he was hoping for. Having said that, he is up 10 places still, but even so, we're involved in a few incidents as our lead. Now this is interesting, isn't it? Because that's our lead two. Panera and Castro have been inseparable since Castro closed that gap down. And now there's a whole host of traffic in front of them. Vanlingham, Wood, Vaglini, and there's a few others involved there too as well. Just to make things a little bit more interesting. And wow, Panero, not too sure about it. The lockup, just looking at front right there. Wow, this could get interesting.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, so interesting that Castro made a move to the inside and passed Panera.
Do you know what? I looked across to the timing sheet to see who was in and around him. I completely missed that one.
Yeah,
capitalizing.
Yeah, he absolutely took advantage of that checkup by Panero. We'll see it here again as they're coming to the inside of that lap traffic. Panero with a lockup just holds him up a little bit, and he gives Castro a chance to get that run and make the move in the next corner. Great pass, great awareness.
Lovely little move from the Brazilian. Well, now this is where it becomes an issue. Well, does it become an issue? Does it become harder for Castro because Panero was the one forging a gap through the traffic, the one having to take the risks, and Castro could just sit back and, you know, make calculated maneuvers, educated maneuvers based on what Panero was doing. Now the roles are reversed here. They've got a little bit of time. So you look back from Arnis Jusovic at the moment, he's standing 32nd. Yes, 32nd and 422 car. There's Dallin Wood just in front of him, I believe. And yeah, this is interesting. See how this one will play out. You know, Panero's saying, "Oh, okay, you got the place. Go on, it's your turn. You bully your way through this traffic."
Yeah, I think that's it. It's basically, you know, I think being the leader is, you know, if you're comfortable with the guys around you, and as we see Baglini into the pits now, if you're comfortable with the guys around you, you can, you know, kind of gauge where that car is going to be and maybe lift a little early, will push it a little deeper than normal to try and get that move done. So I definitely want to be in the front seat as opposed to second place to kind of dictate that. But I think Pinero maybe just made a little mistake with the timing on that pass, and it cost him a position. But obviously, we're still, as we see cars, they're still lapping traffic.
It's going to be a continuation, isn't it? Really, it's going to be lap after lap.
I think I'd almost want to pit now just to get out from this lap traffic, but I probably would have wanted to as we got to the end of that pack. I think now maybe it may be too late. Once you're in the midst of that pack, now you're just going to end up coming out maybe in the middle of another pack, which is not what you want.
That's Phil Berry in from second in Spec 2 on one of the first pit boxes there. This is the Australian. He'll be, well, if you can cement that finish, he'll be ecstatic with that one, I am definitely sure. Scott Russell, the one of the newcomers to the series. Great to have Scott on board. Heads into pit road now. Relatively, well, it felt like a quick stop there from Berry. 10 seconds, 10.4 to be precise, although it's actually looking about on par, actually, with some of the other drivers. Paolo Brame into the pit lane too. Great to see Paolo back as they're a bit of a hiatus. It's the Italian into pit road, and Jan Sabino in.
Yep, kind of the first of the front runners to come into the pit.
Kramer seems to have dropped a fair bit of time there, Charles, to that Marnie Race West group. Wow, even more now.
Yeah, definitely now. Oh, we see another car off on the side. I did not catch who that was, but there was definitely another car off the track.
That, I think, might have been Alex Valmingham, because he's come off at pretty much an identical time. Certainly, if you've seen two cars off, Charles, I think that. I mean, we're looking at this, Charles. We're really quite deep here in terms of pit strategy. 30 minutes on the clock. Normally, we've done with the majority of the field, but still to pit Castro all the way down to, well, McCain in 15th, yet to stop. That's Bradshaw and Jackson into pit road. Also yet to stop Gaspers, who's up into 16th now, though we'll lose a lot of those places when he does pit. Also Chris Thorpe, the Brit, into 19th as well, yet to stop. Vallingham yet to stop too. So near Jess Jacobs, actually Jess Jacobs, apologies, has retired. They've lost a fair few cars.
Yeah, and Gaspers will have to pit again. He had to take the damage repair as we see Pinero coming in. Wes is also in.
I mean, this is one of the things, with such a short track here today. Was it 1.1 mile? No, sorry, 1.6 miles, 2.6 kilometers. You've got that flexibility. You know, it's not like the Nordschleife where you've got two options. The end of lap 1 or the end of lap 2.
Right.
Here, it's a whole raft of options, a whole raft of windows. Yeah, you can pit into, pit out to. So there we go. Marco Pinero comes out in 12th, and he's come out into a lovely, lovely gap, a lovely bit of clear space. That could be tallying. Here comes Gaspers down pit road now.
Yeah, that was a good time for him to come in. Obviously, came back out in clean air. Very quick stop, 9.9. Bobby West actually came in with a 9 flat, or 9.1 for his lap, or his pit. So obviously we're looking, you know, those probably are the sharp end of the stick there as far as pit stop times. Those are going to be fairly short, I think.
Marnie in. Racers in. Green's in. Trenton Kramer carries on again. Wow, well, Trenton, he's on a flight. Look, you tell this is pretty much the last stops, you know, on this train line, isn't it? So many drivers in. Overstreet, Murakami, Gardini, Perry, Kabanka now in. Brewster heading in as well. The 36 as well. I'm trying to check who that one is. That's Alex Vallingham.
Yep,
so there's Castro. Yep. There's Pinero. He's through. He's done it. He's done it, Charles.
Yeah, sure has. Look at that. Yeah, that was just obviously a difference between those two stops of it was only 0.3 of a second, but it was a 1.2 as far as the pit lane time.
And that was the crucial point, wasn't it? That was the selling part. So what has happened? Caleb Pocock carrying on again. Stephen Healy as well. So we've got McCain and Thorpe into the pit road as well. So this is shaking things up a little bit. Who's going to come out where? Not too sure at the moment. So West, he's got ahead of Marnie. Sabino, big loser. He's down to 7th. There comes Trenton Kramer into the pits from what was the lead. He will have led a lap, so a bonus point for that one. He'll be ecstatic about that. That's to say the least. And I'm just trying to see. I think it's only himself and Stephen Healy who are yet to pit. Yes.
O'Cock in 4th.
Oh yes. Yes. Well spotted, Charles. Wow. That's really sort of just a bit of a damp squib on that battle for the lead that it looks so enticing and like it's not gonna.
I mean, Castro's had good pace today, so he could definitely make the gap up. So we'll have to keep an eye on that 1.6 this lap. So we'll see if that time starts dropping.
Taylor's had a good pit stop. Jason Green, he's leapt up the order a bit. He's into 6th now. From that, Bobby West has got himself onto the podium. He's going to be ecstatic about that one. It's the first time on the podium this season for Bobby West. Yes, no, sorry. Picked up a 3rd last week at Mosport.
There you go.
So, good follow up with another 3rd position here. And look at it. I mean, I'm sure Marnie was very, very close behind him. I'm sure he's lost a chunk of time somewhere.
Yeah, I'm just trying to look.
Well, I
can't this lap. So yeah, I don't see anything as far as the lap, his out lap, that looks out of place. It looks like it was pretty consistent with everybody else. Yeah,
bit of a strange one, or it could have been me misreading the timing sheets, perhaps. So many drivers to keep our eye on here. But with Yata Bino right behind him, that's not going to be an easy one. Just like this battle here, Murakami, Overstreet, Perry, locked in, locked on. Stephen Healy on 35 minutes just comes into the pit lane.
That's a good fuel run right there. He took it. I mean, I think that's the longest we've seen in the series, or at least that I can.
Yeah, I've never seen it that late, Charles. Never. Well, I take doff my cap to you, Sir Stephen of Healy. Epic fuel-saving run. So, this is surely got to be pretty much a splash and dash, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, but no, 10.2 seconds. A little bit surprising there. I think a bit too much fuel on there. He's going to undo some of his hard work, but he's still, where is he going to come out? Yeah, he's going to come out in 23rd, so he's still at 14 spots. Not a bad run at all from him.
No, absolutely not. That's a great result. We've got obviously several cars that have moved up. We noticed that in the first race. We didn't have any double-digit gainers, but we've got several in this one making up for it.
Oh yes, we are definitely making up for it, aren't we? I mean, you got to say something when Adam Bradshaw's at 20 spots into 16th, and he's not even the highest position gainer.
No, yeah, but you know, you got Gaspers back there, who's obviously up 26 positions, started from back on purpose, just to have a little fun with it. And is obviously having a good run through the field. Has managed to, I think he had a little bit of a damage at the beginning of the race, and so he's actually taken a second stop. So the first stop, obviously cost him some time to get that fast repair, but still having a great run.
Well, definitely still having a great run. It could be even more of a better run as well, Charles, because that's Caleb Pocock just in front of him. And then just in front of him, locking up as well, is Adam Bradshaw, the Brit, running in deep there. Well, this could change again. Here we go. Gaspers up the inside. That's 27 now for Gaspers. We can see something when, your car number's 21 and you've had more overtakes than your car number.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. And then now he's got Bradshaw, who he can remove from that 20-plus group. So he'll be the only one with 20 positions or more gained. And doesn't have a lot of time left. He's only got like 2 minutes, so maybe another, depending on what
3 laps
are. Yeah, 3 laps, I think. This plus 2 more.
Yeah, that's about by my maths. That's how I read it. So there's Murakami on Overstreet up the inside there, and wow,
Oh, nice crossover.
lovely little fake from Overstreet, and Murakami, well, being a Masters driver, should have seen it coming. It was practically telegraphed from Overstreet. But sometimes you just can't defend from things, and there you go, Charles, you said about Gaspers. Removing Bradshaw from the 20-plus club and making it a club of one. There you go, 28 spots now for the German into 16th.
Just another, it looks like it's going to be, it's going to be the draft down the front stretch. Probably go to the inside here, get the run, get in front of him or side by side with him going into the kink. Bradshaw obviously has to lift here, kind of give that spot up. And that was about as easy as it's going to get for this race.
And while we're watching that, Bradshaw he has to come off track, but had a bit of a, because you just get forced offline, you can lose a lot of time from it. He shot further down too, so he's now down to 20th. Still up at a solid 16. Still the second highest position climber. So, here we go. Here we go. There's Gaspers just in front of us. We're going to lock up and run it in a bit deep. Or is it the heart? There you go.
Yeah, I just had to catch the slide and lost some time there and a couple of positions. Looks like it's going to be 3 as we see Kabanka come through. So yeah, it's had to catch the car, but I was able to do so and still running. It's still up 16 spots, so still a great run. Obviously, we would like to be a few more spots up because he's just in 4th in class. I'm sorry, I was looking at the wrong guys. He's actually down in 6th in class, so but still P20 overall, so still having a good race.
White flag in the air. Final lap here from Oran Park Raceway. Marco Panero just needs to bring this one home. 1.2 seconds, the advantage over Castro, who probably resided to the fact now that second is all it is going to be here today. It's going to be tough having starting on the second row with Panero. Some complete and utter disaster. And I can't see really any traffic ahead of them either.
No, I think the only thing that could happen is Panero wreck the car, which is not likely, or run out of fuel, which has happened to him before.
It has, Charles. I'll never forget Brands Hatch. Top of the display is Kabanka squeezing Brewster, who remains steadfast on the inside. Bobbles across the curb, but with the momentum right around the outside comes Kabanka. But with the inside into the next corner, he's going to take that place. But the victor here today, Marco Panero over Castro. Well, those two dominant. We've got a little bit of a wait for. There he is in the background with the weave across the line. It's 2 third places in a row for Bobby West in the championship. Barney, winner in Masters, just beating Tabino, Green. Antonio Reyes going to pick up second. Trenton Kramer with a victory. It's Spec 2.
Yeah, great race by Kramer. Just did everything he needed to do. Kept the car clean. And good run by Overstreet as well. Up 7 spots. Kramer up 9. Oh no.
Oh, can you save it? Can you keep it? Oh no, Brad Cathcart. Oh, it is home race. It's all gone wrong right at the final corner on the final lap.
That was that Panero? That wasn't Panero, was it?
It was Dan Wood.
It was Dan Wood. He was
battling with, yeah. Limps it home in the end. And where did he? I can't even see where he finished. I've lost his name. I'm moving my eyes away to what was happening on screen. There he is. 24th, yeah. Lost a few places from that. He got past him. There was a few that managed to squeeze their way past, but not too bad in the end. Wow.
Yeah, as though, Gasper's only up 29 spots for the race.
Well, that's 15th. Disappointing. Could have made it around 30, couldn't he, at least,
He could. Well, I think if he wouldn't have had to go in and take the fast repair at the beginning of the race, he might have.
That is a really, really good point, isn't it? I say just anyway. 29 spots, incredible race there from the German. Into 15th. Let's bring up some classified results here from Oran Park, Australia. So what? We wait on 2 others. There we go. Okay, that's a bit right. That's appearing blank. I'll tell you what we're going to do. We'll speak to. There we go. I was going to say we'll speak to a few of the drivers, but the Gremlin's disappearing from the system. Panero first, Castro second, 1.5 seconds in the end. Just that pit stop deciding factor between those two. Bobby West, 2 third places in a row. Great stuff from the Brit. Yogmani winner in Masters 4th, then Tabino Green race picking up second in class. Trent Kramer, congratulations to you on the victory here today. His first win of the season as well, improving on a second from Mosport last time out. The American Overstreet 9th. Then Murakami rounding out that Masters podium and top 10. Perry Gardini, then it's Phil Berry, the Aussie. He'll be happy with that second place in class and 13th overall at his home track. Dan Wood, 14th, then Pocock rounding out that Spec 2 podium in 15th place. Kabanka, Brewster, McCain in 18th. And then we've got Bradshaw and Jackson completing the top 20. Healy, Favini, Gaspers, as Charles said, up incredible 29 spots into 23rd. Cathcart, last driver on the lead lap in 24th. Then 1 lap down, we've got Scott Russell, Chris Thorpe, Bryce Evans, Paolo Brain, Aaron Jurcevic, and Kurt Nunes taking us up to 30th place. Then 1 lap down was at Vallingham, great on his debut, great display from him. Gary Warbolt 2 laps down, Bradwell 3 laps down, then into the retirements now. Ian Wilson, we lost him on lap 29, lap 26 for Glini. Jeff Horniak, lap 18, lap 12 for Jesus Rodriguez, lap 8 for Jacobson and Simpkins. Then we've got Pedro Calvo in 5th. We lost him on lap 8. Lap 6, we lost Montgomery and Nelson. Lap 5, Dantas. Flavor on lap 3. Good thing about those two. They would have been right in the fight, that is for certain. Rick Wish on lap 3, Bob Kern on lap 1, and Hank Kelly did not make the start. So we'll chat to some of our drivers right now. And I'll tell you what, let's have a chat to second place finisher here today. Dudu Castro joins us. I mean, realistically, Dudu, it all came down to the pit stops.
Yeah, well, it was a bunch of things happening in this race. I think the first was, I was like pretty much close to a month and a half without sitting on the sim, on my sim, and of course I felt a bit of pace during the race. Then in the first 2 laps, on the second lap, my computer is starting to have some USB connecting disconnecting issue. So every time that I had that, I had a big stuttering. So for me, you guys might saw some mistakes from myself. It was pretty much all about that. But yes, it was all about the pit, but it was not the pit yet. Only it was the lap before the pit. A guy just didn't let me go. And then I lost probably close to a second there. And that was enough to Marco jump ahead of myself. So, but at the end of the day, I was happy with my pace. I had a good pace when everything was running well. And at the end, on the last lap, I ran out of fuel a little bit, so I had to lift a bit, not to, to have the same ending that I had before. So I'm happy at all.
I mean, yeah, with a month and a half away from the sim, I mean, surely got to be happy with second place. We're going to see more for the rest of the season.
Yeah. I've been out because I was doing some changing on my sim. So now everything is done. I think this USB issue is part of this changing. I'll be fixing that during the week. So yeah, I might be here on the next race. Yeah, for sure.
Definitely. Love to have you back on board. Dudu Castro finished second place here today. Charles, who are you sitting waiting to have a chat with?
Let's talk to Spec 2 winner Trenton Kramer, and we're going to get some questions answered. Trenton, congratulations. So I want to talk about first. So you started down high teens, and then about lap 2, you're up 10 positions already.
Yeah, that was so a lot of people in the left row checked up right before the green flag dropped, and as soon as the green flag dropped, I had so much momentum from the way that coming out of the final corner and the green flag dropping worked, that I was able to get a run, and the only place for me to go was right down the middle. So I just shot up the middle, went from 17th to 7th before turn 1, and because I was running with a lot of the faster guys, just hanging onto the tail end of that draft, just pulling me around the track the entire time, kept me there.
Yeah, that was the key to it. Is you just basically stayed up in that group and was able to pull the win out perspective. But we got to go back to the first race, the Formula Ford race, because we talked about you because you were having a good run, and then you came into the pits, and then you came into the pits again, and we couldn't figure out why. So you want to fill us in on that?
Yeah, so I went into the pits a little early. The rear tires were on fire. I was pushing a little too hard the entirety of the first stint, and I went 1 mile an hour over on the exit right before the cone, and it gave me a 15-second time penalty. So I went in, got the time penalty served, came back out, and then another driver decided that they didn't want to partake in the race anymore, and they drove into the wall on the outside of the final corner, bounced back out, and ripped my rear right off.
Yeah, we caught that also, but that was just couldn't figure out because normally I think it was I think I was trying to guess that you maybe had a speeding, but it was a 25-second, but you're saying 15, which makes everything add up now, and that gets that question answered. So and then the tough luck with the damage at the end of the race, but you didn't get that today, so you had a great run and won your class. So congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Next up, we have got third place finisher Bobby West joins us now. Bobby, 2 third places in a row. Can you make it a hat trick in a week's time?
Maybe. I've never driven Willow Springs, so a bit more learning to do there than here. But everything fell into place there, didn't it?
Talk about the start as well. We just spoke to Trenton Kramer, who said it was all a bit wild and leery. We saw that on the cameras out, parts of it. Look, we had people 6 wide on the run down into turn 1. Just talk about it from your perspective. Les Plavers seemed to really back up the pack a lot before the green flag.
Pure luck. Everyone in front of me checked up right on going green, and I just didn't react fast enough to them, and then it went green. So I went to the right and just managed to gain some spots. But then you're on the outside at turn 1 and 2, and you don't want to be there here. And it's like, it's 3 wide. So I'm never going to survive this. But everyone sort of kept it clean at that point, I think, from what I've seen.
Yes, so, it was largely clean. I think there was 1 or 2 incidents like in the mid to latter part of the field, but other than that, it was remarkable that there weren't more incidents. Like you say, it can always be a bit hairy down into Coca-Cola on the first time, certainly with these big grids. But even so, the podium here today, I'm sure you probably didn't walk into this one expecting that one.
Absolutely no way. No. 11. I think I was 11 on the grid, or 8 or something. I can't even remember.
You were 10.
Oh yeah, okay. I was content with that sort of area. But yeah, I managed to stay with the group. I managed to catch Jörg back up a bit, and then we were closing on Zhao, but he always is a bit slow in the pit stop. I don't know what he does, but he always seems to have a slower pit stop than everyone else. And also other people were saying on Discord where we're chatting, people were saying how much fuel they needed to take. And I was thinking, I don't need to take anywhere near that much. I don't quite understand what they're doing. I wasn't fuel saving or anything, so it's a bit weird. But yeah, no hesitations, and came through to third. I was very, very happy.
It was sort of bizarre with the fuel, because there were some people who took a lot or came in very early, and there were people who left it incredibly late. So a real mixed bag up there. But even so, congratulations, third place. It's 2 in a row now for Bobby West. Congratulations, my friend.
Thank you very much. Hi to my mum and dad and my girlfriend Maria as well. Thank you.
Certainly. Right, and well, that is all we have got time for here today. from Oran Park. We will be back in a week's time, as Boy West has just alluded to there, from Willow Springs as we transverse across the globe to America. Thank you very much for joining us here for the Weekend Warriors from Oran Park, the doubleheader, the Formula Fords, and now the SRFs. I've been Tim Cox with Charles Bashal and Josh Wilkie. We'll see you in a week's time from Willow Springs. Have a good week.
Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.